Hey, good morning, folks. We're going to do some artwork today. Give me a second here to check my signal, make sure we're coming through. I think I need to adjust my volume. So just give me a hot second here while I do that. I'll do some quick social media posting, and then we're going to do some happy tree painting in the Karrnwood Forest of Eberron for a campaign adventure that I'm creating in the Eberron campaign setting. The Karrnwood Forest of Eberron for a campaign adventure that I'm creating in the Eberron
volume
campaign
is there.
setting.
Yeah, it is a little low.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Let's bring that down. There we go. Here, I'm almost done and getting ready to start. It's normally you'd see like a countdown for going live stream because we don't get the link until we go live. So we have to go live and then we can share that we're live. I don't blame YouTube for building it that way. I mean, they've got millions of videos going up and hundreds of thousands of people that are streaming, so it makes sense that they would do it this way. But you play by the game, you know. So I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online. Yeah, we're making an adventure here. It's called Crystals of Mabar. It's for the Eberron campaign setting. It's for characters 7 and 8th level. You're fighting necromancers, demons, and undead in the Karrnwood of Karrnath on the continent of Corvair, and this is the book cover that we created for it. Let me fix my screen here real quick so I can finish our intro and get to work here. Click that into place, and that looks good. And yeah, book cover. There you go. And so like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And thanks so much to all the subscribers. And to that point of appreciation, I just posted on my Patreon. You don't have to be a subscriber to get access to it. I just ask that you follow, but you don't have to pay anything for this. But it's the ABR brush set here that I use to make paintings. And where the deuce is? Hold on. New share it locked. All right. Well, anyway, there was supposed to be a painting attached to this, so I don't necessarily know where that's at. Let's go to my page. Maybe we'll see it there. Oh well, I'm obviously stumbling. Here we go. Big thank you. Yeah, I don't know why the picture didn't show up. Do I have to click on this? There's supposed to be a picture. Hold on. Let's edit. At the post, and can I please add an image? Browse. There we are. There it is. Thank you, baby. Next. Fan activity, notify members. Fan activity, save. There we are. So this is the kind of painting that I can do. The Bob Rossedness of it all. And so the brush set that I included here is this is the kind of work that I can produce with it, and that is what we are currently producing right now. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and glad we took the moment here to spot check. Sorry about showing my ass like that. It's I'm not very good at interneting, so forgive my stumbling. I'm trying to. Get my window lined up here. There. Being very, very specific about my shit right now. Bring that down. There we go. All right. So let's get to work. Okay, so when we left off, here's the composition that we're working on, and we're dropping in trees in the background. So without the trees, here's our mountain range. We had these trees over here originally, but I didn't like how they were sitting, so I decided to flip them around like this, which is the nice thing about having individual trees. Let's take that, and so actually, what I think I want to do is let's remove this for now. Yeah, there we go. Let's go with we're going to call this mid-ground scrub. Mid-ground scrub. I'm going to take away the trees there. Let's go back into the color that we're using right now. Here's our references over here. So we're pulling colors from this here. Yeah, let's just go with that. All right, so we're going to, we have these trees that we made here, but I want to add in more scrubbage. So we have there, we have there, we have the hill, and between the hill and this front scrub, I want another, let's see, we'll call this tree line. I'm gonna put in another line of trees. So let's grab the brush that we want to use. And initially, I think I just want to use my my distance foliage brush. Drop the elevation a little bit. Take all of that and thin it down a smidge. Like that. And we'll go in here and we're going to blend that in. This again, this is the brush that is now on my Patreon, so you can just watch how I use them and do the same thing, and you too can digitally paint like Bob Ross. I actually approached the Bob Ross business about this brush set that I developed, and that I figured out how to duplicate those techniques on digitally, and they weren't interested. So, I mean, they sell paint for a living. Why the fuck would they be interested? They want you to watch YouTube and then get inspired and buy their paint. They don't care if you can do it with Photoshop or not. In fact, they don't want you to do it with Photoshop. So I didn't really think that business model through, but I guess it makes sense. It's just disappointing, you know. Let's go here, and we're gonna switch brush. We're going to let's flip to. Let's grab our faded foliage brush here real fast. Tilt right. Not like that. And this is the typical foliage brush that I use for conifers. I use it for shadow, for branch work, and in this instant, I'm using it as an eraser to randomize the pattern. This is a replicated pattern. So right now, I'm using that brush to erase portions of it, so it breaks up and becomes looks random, as opposed to just the same brush, because the erase marks become random. So the pattern becomes random. And we're going to add in another layer here. Do like that, and that, and that. And then we can erase these as well and break that pattern up. Like that. We can merge these layers down. And then drop the opacity a little bit to fade them back. There, a little bit of biodiversity for your morning. Actually, I think I want to have that increase a little bit so it pops a little bit more. Let's see. I think we need to add in a little bit of it's an overcast day, so I shouldn't expect any sunlight. But I do like that. Yeah, I like this. This is see this the R is pushed up past the G, RGB. So in green, the green would be the highest, but this has a more reddish look to it because red has been amplified. And I feel like what I'm gonna do. Huh? Yeah. No, that is not the right solution. I'm experimenting. I'm just experimenting with color right now. But what I actually want to do then, so that tree line back there, that's fine now. We have this and this here. What I want to do is tap in a little bit of plant growth along that texture back there to make it pop a little bit more. So let's just grab our foliage scatter brush. Add this in here along here, and then I'll be able to erase at this as well, just like we did with the tree line. Dark light, dark light, dark light, dark light, dark. And we continue that cascading, that bouncing of light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, because it creates it creates layers for your eyes to follow, and it adds every time your eye follows that shift in contrast. It feels the eye believes that it's adding layers of depth. So we're going to take this conifer tip brush. And we should be able to use that to erase away at some of this. Again, we add and then we erase. We add and erase because we don't have the same tactile dexterity of actually tapping a brush on a canvas that Bob has when he's doing happy trees. Since our digital tools are essentially static, I bet Corel Draw. I bet I don't know if Corel Paint even exists anymore, but if I bet Corel Paint, if it's still around, would be able to pull off that. I don't know if it would algorithmically create a scatter pattern every time you tap with it as a brush, or even if they're in business anymore. That's a great question. But this is the kind of stuff that like Corel Paint was attempting to duplicate medium and tools like real world tools in medium, and I don't know if they survived long enough to get to this to reach. Now I need to look that up honestly to see if Corel Paint's around, because I bet, because see the thing is that Photoshop, the brushes are static, so you can spin them, you can change the angle on them, you can change the size of them as a randomizer every time you tap, so you're going to get something a little bit different, but it's still built off of the same base pattern that I'm tapping. It's not like a billion like a million horsehairs that hit and then hit like in a million different angles. That is truly random. And the better you get with your actual physical brush tool, being able to tap and drag and manipulate the paintbrush, the more effects you can just naturally create as just part of your autonomic gesturing. We don't have that advantage in Photoshop, but what we do have is the ability to add and delete. So what you can't do on a canvas is take paint away. So we can take our pattern, we can take a randomized enough pattern to be able to create a good scatter, and then we can erase from it with a different pattern so that it looks random. It's a two-step process as opposed to a single-step process. So that means that we have to put in at least twice the amount of work, depending on what the technique is, to achieve the same results. But in the end, I think we do pretty good at achieving the same results. So, I mean, no complaints. I'm going to add just like a little bush thing going on in here. Just add some mass over here. That in. So I'm just gonna be tapping at stuff and basically just filling things in as we go. Whatever grabs my attention that feels like it wants some sort of acknowledgement or recognition. That's where we go when we drop the paint in next. So that's a fun little ridge, and it helps. And again, it's pushing the composition further back. So what I need is let's see. We have group 1, group 2, those are trees, tree line. We're going to call this back ridge. Mid-ground scrub. Yep, so now we need more trees. Oh, my nose. I actually want to put the back ridge in front of the trees. See, now the tree looks like it's sitting in this in this, and I actually need to get in here and break that up. Let's see. Merge this layer down, simplify things. Good. This is where this should be at. Let's go grab a different color, because we already have the colors for this tree here, so we can always grab that again. But for now, I think I want something dark. Ooh, I'm liking this action. Let's grab. Here, and is there something that pops nicely? Yeah, that's a good pop. Okay, cool. Let's grab that. Come back over here. And here, and we can free transform. Squeeze these in a bit. Nice. Let's just take this and grind it in, just blend it. To blend is to win. Now I'm intentionally dragging at this angle here to help create this sense of a hill. You can tell me, timer. Man, time flies when you're having fun. I'll be here for another hour and a half. Yeah, about an hour and a half. So all these, again, the paintbrush that I posted on my Patreon, it's linked down below. These are like, there's like 12 brushes that I use. Like most of the time I'm only using like 4 or 5 different brushes to do any kind of a landscape. And I have a little bit of variety in there just for the biodiversity of it. But between the brushes that I use, I can add and subtract using brush and erase and smudge to basically duplicate any kind of effect that I want. Yeah, so far so good. So let's go here and let's do that process again, this time with feeling. So we're going to take this brush here and we're going to dot it along the ridge line that we just created to fill in the space. See how I'm curving the brush to fit the contours? In this instance, I had to go outside the line a little bit, so I can just trim that down a little. There, but first, we're first establishing a high point, which is going to be the brightest. And then, see how this brush is built? It just kind of curves into the spaces. All these brushes kind of just work with each other. It took a while for me to figure out what the best shape for all these different brushes would be, but I'm pretty happy with the result. I can spin it basically in any direction to fill in the space. So you create a dark background and then you cover it up with whatever highlight you want on top of it. And you put the highlights at the top, and then we'll do separate layers. We'll have the top layer, which will be the most pronounced, and then we'll have lower layers, which will have more and more erase. Like the more you erase from it, the darker it'll become, because as you erase it, it makes it more transparent. And the darkness of the background and the transparent foreground highlight, it ends up looking like it's getting less, like it's getting less light. You'll see here in a second. Let's do like this. And I'm just making these little inlets just to show that there's like different colonies of plants that are here. So that's what that's representing. So we're going to take this conifer brush. This is a conifer branch. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. There, that's what it looks like. But when you do a bunch of them together, it ends up looking really interesting, like almost like kale leaves. It's a really good leafy brush to use, and all you gotta do is just spin it around and just create the silhouette of the thing that you're trying to make. And it ends up looking like that's layered that with another color, and it ends up being good foliage. But as an excellent eraser as well. So we're going to use it as an eraser right now, and we're going to drop the size of the brush down to meet the medium that we're operating in here, and we're at 100%. So I'm going to tilt it up vertically like this, so that's matching the direction of the background, of the backdrop darkness here, the dark color. So as I tap, it's carving the pattern of the brush that I'm currently using as an eraser through the pattern of brush that I added the highlights to. So it ends up hitting everything at different angles and different portions, so it becomes a randomized pattern. You can't recognize the individual patterns that we're using it now, because that's been faded away. These highlights are a little sharp, so I think I might want to dull them down a little bit by dropping the opacity, but I want to first finish dotting this all in to see how that should end up looking. This the shadow color I use might actually be too strong of a shadow. I should probably save something this bold for further forward in the piece. As we get closer to the camera, we'll have more contrast and being able to distinguish one form from another. So I think this is actually too dark, but it should be. These are too. This is too pale to be further in the foreground. So I need to grab this and then push it up some. But not too much. You can see here in the foreground color, I'm looking for contrast because I don't see any color. So the only thing I operate on is contrast. Once I'm familiar with the color, like I know the RGB array like this is going to be a very mild green effect. So I can hit this. There. Yeah, that feels better. Yep. Tap at this, repurpose it. There. Our eye fills in the details for us. Very good. All right, so let's. I just need a little bit more of this scattergunny stuff, and we'll probably be good. So I'm gonna add another layer. It's a layering. It's all about layering. The more layers you add on, the more depth it adds. The more your eye is looking for information, and as it finds it, it just acknowledges and starts to accept it. And once your eye is convinced that, yeah, this tracks, I know what this is, then it sort of like autofills for you, as your eye doesn't have to do as much work to try to suss out what's going on in the piece. So if you can establish a like good silhouettes or good profiles of something that you're going to replicate, you can make it easier and easier for yourself to replicate it without necessarily having to be precise and exact about everything, because again, your eye is going to fill in a number of details for you once it's gotten past, is this a real thing or not? What, do I need to scrutinize this or not? And the less scrutiny it needs, the easier it is to transition the eye into relaxing like that. And you can get to that. You can drop scrutiny by having good detail, having resting spots, and focus in areas of focused activity, so that your eye has room to breathe and move around the piece. Hopefully some of these words I'm using are making sense. About there feels pretty good. So as we continue to build up the foreground, this more washed out look back here, is more of a mid-gray range here in this middle band here with the trees and stuff. But as we add in more foreground moving down the piece, we're going to have more opportunities, like have reds and yellows, and maybe even have some rock poking up for some blue. There'll be opportunities for us to diversify the color palette as well. So the further back we go, the more grayed out, the more monotone we want it, and the more we move forward, the more diversity and contrast we want. Both in lightness and value. Light and dark is called value, versus hue, which is actual like color saturation. So the hue will intensify, as will the value. Hue and value contrast increases closer to the camera and fades to monochrome, and eventually just gray out and then become all the same wash in the end as you move further and further away. Word salad. Oop, wrong layer. Here. Things in here. Again, we're looking for holes and gaps. It's like, oh, it'd be nice to have a little thing there, so we put a little thing there. There we go. This here is a little bit too highlighted, so I want to dull that down. This is northward facing, so the light is coming in from the east to the west. So I want to slightly bias light sources from the right-hand side and upward in this direction. But it's, again, it's overcast, so it's not like we're going to get a large amount of like splashes of sunlight on the ground or anything. It's just not going to happen. I like that dark bridge. That feels good. Dark light, dark light, dark light, dark. And we'll move into lighter. Yep, more trees. So switch back to our colors. And our brush. And well, you're a stray pixel, ain't ya? Yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to keep up with this for now, and then... Yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to keep up with this for now, and then... Not liking... how much that's aligning. Hold on real quick. There we go. That feels good. Grab the same brush here and erase at the edges. So we're just building the ladder, and then we're going to fill it in. But first I want to break up the shape so it's less, again, so it's more diversified. Like that. Chat disconnected. It says chat disconnected. Are we actually live? Okay, good. Cool. I got a little message down here that chat disconnected, so I don't know what's going on. Like, did it actually disconnect or what? So let's continue. Successfully connected. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me updated. Happy Croesus, Ka. I love Seattle. There's so many. There's seagulls and crows and squirrels all fight over the same dumpster, and the seagulls are huge. Like, they're huge. It takes 3 crows to ward off a seagull, and I don't know how many fucking squirrels it would take. They can't win. Squirrels just can't win against seagulls. But you can have basically 2 squirrels versus 1 crow. That's an okay fight. And but the crow's gonna mostly be like, I don't want to bother with this, and it's just gonna yeet. But yeah, when the seagull shows up, I mean they're the size of collies, you know, like a medium-sized dog. The big seagulls, like they've got like this huge, like a 4-foot wingspan. No, like a 5-foot. God, yeah, like a 5-foot wingspan. I've seen running around the park, just like basically terrorizing things with his wings out. It's like, get away! It's awesome. It's actually pretty freaking awesome. I love to see it. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Oops. Let's go back to this. Get a little tuft in place there. Just a little bit of personality. You can overdo it, so it's just a delicate practice of what feels right to you. But as long as it's bigger at the bottom than it is at the top, and it just works in that direction, generally your trees are going to look okay. There's not a lot of complexity to it. I'm going to start at the top and we're going to work our way down. Same patterning as we do. And again, with the highlights, since it's coming down on the light, we want to have the curve of the brush upward to reflect the sunlight hitting the top of these branches, and we can come in and we can erase at them. By flipping the brush upside down and erasing, it adds shadow as though the curve is on top of the branches underneath it, right? So if I got branches here and I've got another set of branches on top of it, I'll have the highlight underneath here showing where it's getting highlighted, but then I'm going to erase with a curve like I'm going to have, what am I trying to do? Upward, and then I can't do a downward variation because when the branches come down like this, they're going to cast a shadow that's also curved, like how the hand is splayed, and like a fan, you know, if that makes any sense. So we add in the layers of branch like this. And then we erase from it upside down like this. I'm going to change the angle a little bit just for variety, because you can see like this recurring pattern down here. I need to break that up so that your eye doesn't go, hey, that's a weird pattern. What's going on with this tree? But the more you can disintegrate the pattern, the more your eye's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Now I want to add shadow into this thing here like this, just using the same downward technique for shadow. Christmas trees-ish. Fir. I think it's a fir tree that does like that. I want to do the same thing over here. Little branch sticking out. I love that. Just use the same erase tool to tap away some of it to help keep the organic feel. There we go. And we're going to leave that guy fairly pale, you know, for diversity. I'm checking my window over here occasionally just to make sure that we're still, because I got that disconnect warning down there, so I've got my eye on it now. It's like, are we still running? How are we doing? So far, it looks like we're doing okay. Far left. I'm gonna trim that down a smidge. So if you're following me on my Discord or any of my social media channels, I'll be posting later on today. Tonight I'm going to be participating in Shadow Dark, probably like maybe a 2-hour or so session with Wally DM, AJ Pickett, Fred Wheeler with How to RPG, and probably some other folks. And so I'll be doing that for a couple hours, and then I'm going to switch gears and go back to doing fighter subclass design for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Here's where I want to be. Let's grab our base color. We just go down. First off, we're just fuzzing up the trunk. And again, using our branch scaffold as a guide. Start adding in some scaffolding. So we're just gonna dance down the ladder. Change our angle to create variety.
this guy in shape here. Thicken up those ladder steps here. Add a little bit of volume. This left side over here is bugging me for some reason. I don't really know what it is yet. It's got me grumping about it. Something's got me grumping. I'm gonna fill in. Hold on. Yeah, something like that. All right, I'm gonna let that be. Add our highlights here again. Occasionally we're increasing the size of the brush to reflect the increase in branches. Erase some of that undercarriage there. Thin it up, and then there. Okay, cool. That feels good. And now we have a mild eraser here, so we can tap at the undercarriage a little bit here to fade it into the recesses of the foliage. Again, being mindful that the lighting is coming from the left, so we want to have more emphasis on shading to the left over here. Through, and let's grab some of this dark. Add that shadow into underneath the highlights. Again, to create contrast. There we go. I say like that a lot while I'm doing this because I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing it, and hopefully I can sustain a conversation. But sometimes I just kind of get caught up in the tapping of it. It's really a meditative process, and for a long time I wasn't streaming at all when I would do this type of stuff. So it became a real, like I said, like it's a meditative space for. That artists find. It's the reward we get for the isolation that we endure for crafting the arts that we make. I mean, the end result of the painting is you know, that's its own satisfaction for sure. But there has to be a reward mechanism in place for an artist to be willing to endure the loneliness of creation in the first place. And self-reflection and meditation is the built-in reward that we receive, because there's so much internal activity while we're painting, personally critiquing, reviewing, considering, and the longer you're at it, the more skilled you get. Modesty aside, the more skilled you get at it, the easier it is for you just to flow into that space. But it's the practice of creating art is the, how to put it, it really is the art of being real with yourself, of owning, does this look good or not? Is this actually garbage? Is this quality? Where does this sit? And your ability to honestly critique yourself on that front. Is an amazing gift that we receive. Second left. I feel like I actually want these behind the tree line. Not quite. Not quite. Hold on, I'm still contemplating. First off, I gotta get rid of that. If I'm gonna have these things pushed back behind the hedge line, I absolutely have to have no indication of the trunks. Gotta erase all that up to get rid of them. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. There's nothing sacred about any of these trees. I can push them off. I can just push them off the canvas if it feels better to do that. Okay, I think I see what I need to do here. Let's drop those there. Let's take this tree line here. What if we bring it over here like this? Merge those together. Brush those into place. That's feeling better. Then we got, so let's stitch that back down there. And so we got tree here, we got a tree here. What are you all on about? Got a neat little gap over here I kind of want to preserve. Let's look at our composition overall. Hold on, let's finish this tree. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's finish this tree. nice and trim. All right, so now we just go down the line again. Bop, 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 bop. Fuzz it up. And again, just using this scaffold that we made as our guiding line. How are we doing on time? 7:15. Holy shit. We got 40 minutes left. That's great. So we'll definitely finish up these trees and start pushing down into the forest floor. I like that a lot. I like that transparency that we got going on here, so I want to preserve that. Nice. Cone, trim that up. Yeah, like that. That feels good. Next up, we're gonna. Yeah. Back in like that. Like that. That feels pretty good. In and grab the shadow here, dot it in. That. Oh, wait, I need to erase a little bit. Can't forget my steps. Good. Shadow underpinning the highlights to create that variety. here, and as we get out towards the tips, I'm going to erase a little bit more. You know, to break up the, just to break up the blocks a little bit. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I want to take this guy. Good. Yeah. Raise that up a bit. Branch, a bit of the trunk poking through the foliage here and there helps add to the realism of that. And that feels pretty good. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Something. Where is that coming from? Oh, it's a gap. You don't want to eliminate that. It's too bright. How it's poking through like that. This is too dense to have little light pox come through like that this close to the trunk. So that's gotta go. There we go. Better. All right, yeah. So far so good. I'm feeling pretty good about all this. Let's see. Here. There we go. So far, so good. So what? How's my composition feel? So far, so good. So let's just sit. That's our tree line. Those are trees, period. Here's our composition. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a big fatty sitting here, so that feels good. Oops. No, leave that in place. Nope. I'm trying to thank you. Leave you in place. actually like that. Yeah, so far so good. Cool. Let's we got those trees are in place. The sky, mountain, hill, tree line, trees. Mid-ground scrub is where we're at right now. And we keep working our way forward. So I don't think I need any of that. Cool, back to our mid-ground scrub. We're gonna hide the composition. Oops, let's put you back in place. We've got that tree. Where are you coming in from, buddy? There it is. Gotta erase that so it fades in again. There we go. Good. I need to break up some of the lighting in here. It's too dense. That layer, that coloring here, that mid-tone is too thick. It needs to break up. There. And here, I need to fade on those edges a little bit more. Yeah, far left. This one needs to fade a little more. That lighting's too sharp for where it's at. So I need to trim that down a bit. But I could nitpick forever, so. No real need to do that. Now I'm just messing around with lighting a little bit. Just nitpicking. Just nitpicking because I can. Okay, so back on track. This all gets pushed further back as we add more volume to the foreground. Again, it's all just about layering. Just layer upon layer upon layer to thicken it up. Let's see, what's the next thing I want to do? I think I want to... Let's, where do we want to grab? And for some reason, I'm feeling like a rockiness. Dropping some, yeah. This is really interesting. interesting. I like that. So let's grab that and a darker color here. Adobe stock art for the win, y'all. I want something darker than that. Let's try that. Here. Right now, more than anything, right now, I'm just interested in making an interesting shape. Interested in interesting things. How about that? They hold my interest. I think we just want to work this into the canvas because we're going to have foliage covering most of this. So. I don't want it too thorough. I'm gonna actually kind of cut it off over here. Just have it here. That feels good. It into the canvas. This starts creating like a pathing that comes down around here. So look at the composition. See, we have this natural sort of curving down, like this meandering path. Like if there was a river, like it would totally flow down through here. So we're going to use these contour lines as guidelines. We're going to have like a mass here, and we'll have a mass here, we'll have a mass here, and we'll have a mass here, and having that tumbling, cascading terrain moving down the page is going to continue to add depth and push it further and further. Like we'll have like 20 some odd layers of overlapping layers of terrain when this is done, and all that depth is going to add a lot of, like, your eye is going to infer a lot about what's going on inside of the piece. And it's like you're literally making pathways through the painting for your eyes to wander along to see what you'll find, as though you were just venturing through the forest. So it's the same sort of, it's literally the same aesthetic that we're looking for. So far it's working out really nicely. I'm really enjoying the composition where it's sitting right now. It feels really balanced. Get rid of the reference there, and it just kind of just pours into the page. I really like how it's moving. So welcome to the mix, anyone that's showing up. I do artwork for, so I make books, right? I create, test, and illustrate role-playing supplements, and so in the morning like this, I'm illustrating whatever book has been completed. I illustrate that book, and in the evenings and at lunch, like tonight, like around 7:30 Seattle time, like in 12 hours. It's 7:30 now. Yeah, in about 12 hours from now, I should expect to be back on doing like 5e, 24, monk subclass development. So you can check out down below. There's a lot of links to different game 5e content that I design, and my Patreon now has a link as well. And well, hey JC, how you doing? No wonder I'm crap at environment art. Never really realized how bloody complicated a Bob Ross painting could be. Well, I mean, he does it in a half hour, but when anything that he does on screen for a half hour, he's already painted at least 3 times off camera, so he has practice moving through the piece and seeing how, like, if he had to, like, I'm just creating this on the fly, right? I'm just creating it, dry run. Other than a sketch, I got nothing. If this was an actual, like, Bob Ross episode, he would have done this exact composition 3 times already. So when he actually gets on camera, he knows where he wants that tree to be. He has an idea of where he wants that mountain to be. He knows where he wants that lake to be, the shoreline of it, all that stuff he's already done a number of times. It's practiced. So he's performing for you when he's on camera, but he's legitimately designing the composition of the piece off camera. I'm just showing you my ass, and like this is the process that goes into it. So yeah, don't beat yourself up about having difficulties with composition, because the composition it's the most important part, but B, it's also really difficult because you have to make sure that all the pieces are balancing, and like I'm really into eye flow, like where the eye will move across the piece and how it gets redirected back into it. And again, and with this, it's a piece of page art that's complementing text on the page. So the illustration has to flow with the text. So it's there's a lot of considerations that have to go into this particular example beyond just an individual canvas composition. So, and these pages, and again, for those that aren't familiar, this is a 10 by 7, 10 inch wide, 10 inch tall, 17 inch wide format that is designed for like tablets and phones and stuff like that as a digital supplement to utilize the wide range, the wide view ratio, the 16 by 9 ratio, and so this individual composition that we're making is 5 inches wide, 10 inches tall. So it's basically it's like a 3/4 page vertical on like an 8.5 by 11 page, right? So it's a very most of my landscapes are wide, like 16 by 9 in the horizontal angle, not the vertical. I don't really work vertically very often, so this is fun. This is a fun piece. Most of the vertical pieces like this that I've done are like waterfall type stuff. So this is a particularly tricky composition because it's in a ratio that I'm not used to. But the layering, like plotting, like if you watch, I mean, obviously, a half-hour episode of Bob, you'll see him the sky, and then the clouds and the mountains, and then the hills in front of the mountains, and then the distant tree line, and then the mid-ground tree line, and then the like the flowers and shrubbery that are nearer than that, and then you have your actual ground, and then you have the tree trunks that are nearby, and then you have the foliage that covers those trees. That's 10 layers right there. And then you could have any number of that same sequence of background, ground, trees, and then foliage. That's 4 layers that get set, and every time you change your distancing, they get larger and smaller, larger as they get nearer the camera. So you add a lot of the compositions that I build have anywhere from 15 to 20 layers typically. And because of the vertical orientation of this one cascading down the page, we're going to have like, here's a layer, and then this will be a layer, and then this will be a layer, and then this will be a layer, and this will be a layer, and this is a layer. And then we have all the trees in between, and each tree at a different distance adds an additional layer of information. So it just continues to stack up on you as you move, and that volume, that density of information stacking up on it is where the eye starts to like cross over. And it's like, yeah, okay, this all just kind of makes sense because your eye just sort of loses track of it after a while. It's when you slow down, you scrutinize each individual inch of the composition that you can start peeling apart where it all really is at. Otherwise, the eye just wants to kind of blend it all together. I gotta say, you only have to trick the eye for a moment before it gets lazy and it just starts to autofill information in for you. And the brush set I use is on my Patreon now. It's in the link down below. It's no cost, but I do ask for membership, but membership doesn't cost anything. So if you use Krita or Photoshop or Clipart Studio, the ABR file should work fine for whatever program that you're using. Every time you say shrubbery, immediately think, yeah, I know, right? I discovered Monty Python about the same time as I discovered Bob Ross. I actually, the first time I saw anything from Monty Python was the Holy Grail. After it had originally came out, like it was like what, like 80? I want to say like 80, 81 maybe, something like that. Hold on, I'm curious now because I used to watch it when I was a little kid playing Legos. Let's see, release date, Monty, thank you. Oh wow, 1975. That's hilarious. It hit. I saw it on HBO when I was like 5 years old, so that would have been about 1980, and that's about when I started watching Bob Ross as well. I would in the family room. My Saturday morning, I would wake up early Saturday morning, and then I would start playing with Legos at like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon in St. Louis, in Kansas City, where I lived at the time. Dungeons and Dragons came on at I want to say it was 7 a.m. I think, and so I'd get up at 6:30, go downstairs, play with Legos, and Bob Ross would be on PBS in the morning. So I would just listen to Bob Ross because it was the most interesting thing on while I was just playing with Legos. And then so every Saturday morning I'd watch like a literal like brand new episode of Bob Ross. And then that would end and I'd flip over to ABC and watch Dungeons and Dragons, and then like I think Gummy Bears came on at 7:30. And then there was Mighty Orbots at 8, and then Muppet Babies took over for an hour. I didn't like Muppet Babies. It was either Muppet Babies, Smurfs, or Hanna-Barbera. I'm like, God. So that's when you go eat breakfast. It's like, this block sucks. So I'm gonna go eat breakfast, come back. Maybe Pandemonia would be on. It always felt like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be on at some point, but it always felt like such a cop-out. This is like by the time I was like 12. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would be on Saturday morning, but it's like that's such a cop-out because it's also in syndication in weekday afternoons after school. I'm like, this. I don't watch Saturday morning cartoons for shit. I'm gonna watch Monday through Friday. Give me something different. It's funny. All right, I'm probably whinging on these rocks enough, so let's skip out of there. Let's get into here. Let's look at that. Whew, man, that is a bright texture. So let's find. We could use our conifer brush. That doesn't feel right. What you got? Nah. No, let's go for it. Let's try it. Conifer tip. Yeah, we'll just flatten it some. That'll probably help. So now we're just going to stipple on. Again, it's all stippling. All we're doing is just tap, tap, tap. tapping the pattern onto the surface, and we already have established that the light is to the east, which is to the right side of the page. And again, looking at our reference here, I can see that already sort of reflected over here. Just kind of letting it just kind of cascade and bounce its way down wherever the contours are. This is why we have this outline that we built out, so that we can have this sort of idea of where the shapes of this is already at. So that as we sort of bounce our way down, we can see it come through. I'm going to round it out like this. We're going to hit this thing with an eraser. And we're going to use the same brush. We're going to go with about maybe around 40% opacity. Bring this down, and I'm just going to tap and drag to erase at it a little bit. Wait a second, I need to go back, because I made those vertical those horizontal lines that I accidentally carved in there is inappropriate. What I want to do is click and drag down like this, or rather, I actually want to click and drag upward. We're erasing lines to create the curvature, right? And as you get further down at the bottom, it's more erased, fading into the dark. So we can fake volume by controlling how the light hits the form. And this is called form shading, or form lighting, depending on which direction you're looking in. And here I specifically want to carve that piece off to create a line of distinction there between one form to the next. So, but generally I'm broadly erasing downward. That moss is really cool though. Zoom in, we can see there's some texture in there. So I'm going to sculpt and erase that so it looks less like brush marks and more like texture. So erasing on this side gives it a curve. See how that's curving now? It's a smooth stone over time. It's been pockmarked with all this moss that's rooted into it. So it has that curvedness to it. And we're doing this by having a 40% eraser, like the eraser is only 40% strong. So every time I drag the eraser across, it takes away a little bit more information, and I can change the angle and the direction of the eraser to sculpt how the brush strokes are left on the page and creating the texture of the rock. I'm sorely tempted to hit the smudge tool to drag these things around, but I know that's not the right thing to do. That's a good base to start with, but it feels washed out, right? The lighting, it doesn't feel very crisp. So what I want to do is take a moment to contemplate my next move. Yeah, I need something darker. There we go. That feels better already. Dust it all in. And this will probably be covered up with shrubbery or something. Right now it's just tarmac. It's just data. It's just texture and contrast and volume. Just literally just getting ink onto the page so that it starts filling the space and defining itself. That's all we don't have to really worry about anything right now. We're just adding volume, trusting that the process is going to end up filling all of this in as we see, like we saw blank spots here. We just created some shrubbery back here to dot into the background. It just let it flow in. I'm going to actually hit the bottom of this with some smudge tool, get some smoother gradient going on, just to ease it in a little bit. I don't want to touch the top. I want to leave the top crisp with its own defined texture, but towards the bottom here, that's not important. Blending it in so that it meets it, like by blending out the bottom, it creates space for you to layer things in on top of it. Let's grab, yeah. Fill that in a smidge. I'm gonna erase at that. I'm being very meticulous. I don't know why. I feel like I need to pay closer attention to where we're at here, but that's what the muse wants, and what she wants, she gets. That's the deal. She'll feed me inspiration and work me through the process, and I follow my intuition, letting it lead me to wherever it goes. And that's how you build trust with your inner self, so that you can trust it to make decisions on things that are important. Like, is this the person I want to spend the rest of my life with? Or is moving to this city a good idea? If you trust your instincts and train your intuition so that you'll listen to it when it doesn't matter, you have no reason to doubt it when it does matter. But that's relationships, right? That's just building trust. And most people don't build trust with themselves at all. Most people don't trust themselves like a lick. So it makes it difficult for them to listen when they're when their ghost whispers to them, this is not a good idea. They don't trust that voice. So they don't listen to it because they haven't learned to respect how much we actually know if we slow down and pay attention. And that's a lesson that I'm learning a lot in chess. I used to not play a lot of chess, but like on the bus and downtime with friends and couch time, I can play little rapid games of chess. I'm not up to bullet yet, but I can play like 10-minute rapid games. And when I'm in a rush, I miss opportunities. I miss discoveries. I miss forks. I miss traps because I'm moving too quickly. I'm not taking the time to allow myself to absorb the information, how the environment changes with each piece moving, and I get trapped in assumptions about what I think is supposed to happen, and I play along the lines of what I think is supposed to happen instead of actually paying attention to what is happening, and then I end up in a fork I didn't expect, or they move a piece and I realize, oh shit, there's a trap here, and I'm walking right into it. If you slow down, you can watch your feet and you can avoid traps like that. And chess is a really great analogy for life in that sense. It's really, really exciting. So I'm training myself to slow down, pay attention, think things through, and what's really important in chess is sequencing. Knowing it'll take me 3 moves to set up this trap on I want to catch this bishop. So it's going to take 3 different moves for me to trap that bishop. What order do I need to, which piece do I need to move first in that 3-piece sequence that's going to allow the trap to remain hidden but locking down at the same time? You can do that as a purely hypothetical situation. But when you're doing things like that, then you have to pay attention to what am I doing first? What am I doing next? Is this next step that I'm going to take going to reveal too much, or is it the proper direction to go? If they discover the trap, is it too late anyway, or can I salvage something from it? So these are all things that you have to think about while you're playing chess. And in that sense, chess becomes a really great analogy for steps that you want to take in your own life towards moving towards a goal in your own future, like retirement, or what city do I want to live in, or whatever. Same sort of idea. Hey, Tex, what's up? Just drives you nuts. Yeah, it does. Some days I feel I'm a Magnus Carlsen. Others I'm sub 100 elo. Preach it, my man. I'm only sitting. I typically right now I'm playing rapid chess, which are 10-minute time games, and I'm basically caught in the 750 850 zone, 825. I've never exceeded 825. I rarely drop down below 750, but that's a decent range. That's a 70-point range, which is an 8-game spread. So within 8 games, I'll rise or drop from 750 to 825. And the problem is that I don't spend enough time looking for traps. And there's just some weird patterns of activity, interesting, queen traps that open up early game that in the 800 range people are starting to learn and implement that I just haven't seen enough of it. That's the thing about skill. In chess, you can't just be a fucking genius and just see all these things. You actually have to lose games to feel what these traps are like, so that your emotions become bound to. It really sucked when the queen invaded my far left flank like this when I was planning on castling. I can't castle over there anymore, and my mid game feels trash now. Unless you fall into those traps and have these things hurt you, you can't see them, and you certainly can't create countermeasures or even implement them yourselves. Even a genius has to go through the learning curve process. It's just a genius will see the patterns quicker. It doesn't do anything for your emotional state of being able to get over having missed something. A genius can be emotionally what's the word I'm looking for? Deficient, and all their tactical brilliance doesn't matter because they're fucking tilted. So you have to what I get so tilted when I make a mistake that I have to force myself into pushing through games so that I like if I find that I'm tilted, I intentionally keep playing and drive my elo down. Like I got tilted the other day. I was at 8:30 and I missed something that pissed me off. And so I immediately dived into another game and I completely fucked up that game, and I immediately dived into another game and another game and another game. And as a result of it, from 820 down to like 770 in the course of like maybe 20 minutes of me just blasting through these games and fucking shit up. But at some point I got to a point where even when I'm tilted and shitty, I'm seeing what my opponent is trying to do. So it's desensitizing me to the adverse effect of loss. My problem, my inability to accept, like getting tilted when I make a mistake, is me being unwilling to admit that I am not good at chess yet. This is a skill I haven't acquired yet. And what I need to do is learn that no matter how much of a loss or how much of a mistake I miss right now, there's just another game that's waiting for me to play again. So it's really up to me of how quickly do I want to get back on the horse, and hopefully, as a result of that burning process, I will desensitize myself to the expectation of like I should have done better. It's like, no, you did as well as you could in the circumstances that you had. What you really want to do is see what was there. What did you miss? What lessons can you learn from that? And if you're tilted, you can't learn shit because you're not listening anymore. So you have to burn through being tilted and then be able to go back and look at, oh, that's where I missed it. Because if you're tilted and you go back and you look at what I missed, then you're just angry at yourself for having missed something so obvious. But once you get out of being tilted and you're rational again, you can, oh, that was interesting. I can see like 2 moves ahead now. I get curious. Not angry, I get curious about where did that come from? How did I miss that? Not, I can't believe I missed it, or like, how did I miss that? The answer is actually, how did I miss that? What was I focusing on and distracted by that prevented me from seeing what was coming at me? And the more desensitized I get to making mistakes, the easier it is for me to see what's coming down the line. And my best chess isn't when I'm trying to beat you. My best chess is when I can create problems. Like, hey, if you take this rook, I'm going to put your king in check for like the next 3 moves. So is that rook worth it to you, and where's this going to go? So you create, my favorite chess is when I'm creating questions that demand responses. Like, I'm going to check you this next move. Do you see it? That's my question. And if you don't see it, then it's like, well, okay, well, great. You're going to be in check in the next 2 or 3 moves, and I'm going to get into a really strong position for it. But like, if you see that check, what follow-up response might I have to punish you for taking the action of protecting your king and with foresight? So like, that's really good chess, and like really high level players, you can see them naturally building those consequences. Like, I'm going to offer you this piece, and if you take it, it's going to hurt you. They just naturally see how that stuff flows together because they played enough games to see how these patterns move. You have to give yourself grace and permission to not know what the fuck you're doing so that you can learn what you're doing. It's part of the process. And everything is like that. It's just particularly pronounced in chess. There's like this immediate sense of response in your strategies. Like, was this a good strategy? As opposed to, like, say, backgammon. Backgammon is all dice, but then it's a matter of seeing what opportunities do I have set up so that what am I likely to roll next, and can I position my pieces on the board to take advantage of what's probably going to be like 3 and 4 or 2 and 5, 1 and 6, the 7s. Like, what can I do to set myself up to take advantage of the next 7 that's coming along? It's kind of like chess, but it's random. And okay, now I've got this like ripply effect, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to fade it in. Catch up. Yeah, right on. Panzani opening for white right now. Looking for a way to get over 1k elo. I don't know. I don't know the opening that I'm using. I don't know what it's called. I was playing with the London I was playing Con in London a little bit before I actually started like training. But now that I'm actually like training my skills, I'm actually watching a lot of Armand Hambleton, who is, amazing. And he has a number of tutorials, like rapid games, like teaching basic fundamentals. And I've basically just been following his fundamentals, and they're teaching how to like make good decisions and stuff like that. So I don't know what the opening is called. But it's nothing fancy. It's not like there's no fianchettos. It's all just like push the middle. Push and stay centered on the middle. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's just stay centered and stay focused on the middle. And as pieces move away, push them back to the middle. If you control the center, chances are you're going to control the game. And at where I'm at right now, that's generally true. But yeah, London's cool. I think it's a neat system. I like it. I've watched a number of tutorials about how to operate the London, and like how to like Greek, like you can Greek gift. Once your king castle's into the corner, like you can set up Greek gifting with the London system really easily. There's some really great bishop traps that you can build into it. Like how it pushes the sideboard, like is really strong on the sideboard. I like it. I respect it. But I'm not high enough rating to really have like any real opinions about anything. I'm still learning. I'm still trying. I still blunder. I'm still trying to figure out like I'm trying to keep myself from blundering. That's like one of my major goals right now. Don't fuck up. Yeah, All right, I need to get back on focus. I like how that sits, but I'm not enjoying. You know what? I'm gonna take all of that back. I'm gonna duplicate this layer. I've spent maybe like 15 minutes on that, but I'm gonna recant. Take it away and just start over again. So I'm just gonna blend this in. Cause I don't that rippling effect. It doesn't look right. It wasn't what I thought. I just kind of got carried away with the lighting and the texturing. That it just ended up going to a place I didn't like it. So I'm just gonna redo it. I'm just gonna paint over and do it again. This time I'm going to be a little bit more structured about where my shapes are at. Hey, what's up? There's way too many lines for me to memorize. I would like to learn a dynamic opening that has transpositions. Yeah, right on. Chess is fun. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't eat a lot of time. You can eat as much time with chess as you want, but like 1 minute bullet games. It's like I want to get once I get to 1,000. Once I can get to 1,000 elo by concentrating and like playing like a rapid game, like slow. I want to start over again with bullet chess and get good at that. If I can get myself to 1,000 in bullet chess, I'm gonna be really fucking happy about myself. Because it means bullet chess means that you are reflexively and instinctively making correct decisions. Fast enough that you don't really have to calculate what's the next thing that you need to do. But that's like the martial arts adage of like you don't train to be fast, you train to be smooth. Slow makes smooth, smooth makes fast. So the more instinctive and naturally your body can move, the more it's going to make correct movement. and you can't learn that correctness unless you move slow at first to be able to really audit your own body processing. Chess is the same way. So I'm intentionally moving slow with these 10-minute games right now to keep a little bit of, like, I was playing 15-10s, but that was too slow, and so I didn't feel a pressure, like time pressure with it. So with my goal being bullet games, I want to train myself, at least at first, of having enough of a time crunch that I can't just pontificate stuff forever, that I have to move. And eventually I want to ease down into 5 minutes and then get into 1 minute. Because like if you get into bullet, like if you're standing in line, like waiting at the teller or something, you can crack out 2 or 3 games and then, hey, it's my turn. You know, it's like, oh great, I can be attended to now. That's great. Hey, what's up, Gabby? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Thanks for caring. Right now, we're just building out. I'm just messing around with this topography here just to see what it's going to do. Off screen, I'm building these pine trees. I'm building the overhead map tokens of them with the trunk and the branch scaffold, and then as a separate layer on top of the actual cone looking downward. And so I've been I spent maybe like 2.5 hours last night messing around with different designs. I think I've got something that I like. And I've got 20 different tree tokens that I want to make, like with distinct patterns, and the texture that I have and the look that we're on, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I want to make sure all my content creators. Thanks, Gabby. You're a peach. So this time I'm adding I'm adding highlight contours, and I'm thinking about stippling, erase stippling this in as a texture. Like instead of adding to create texture, I'm thinking about just doing this smudge wash and then stippling it so that it creates breaks. So we'll end up layering it. I think it'll end up looking pretty good. So I like this approach better. We had to go back, right? Because I haven't used this brush this way before. We're using a very thin brush that's normally a lot wider than this. Creates a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Texture. But we're using such a thin slice of it that the texture isn't there. So I'm having to rethink how are we going to build the texture into this particular piece. But it's a moss covered rock, and hopefully it'll be evident when we're done. If I do a good job, it'll be self-evident, right? What's up? Art tablet skills. There's no end to practicing art tablet skills. I've been using a Wacom for 20 years now, I think. Yeah, like since 2005, maybe 2002, may have been when I started using my first tablet. I think it was that far along, somewhere around there. So it's been and I never wanted to buy a Cintiq, the expensive ones, like the really big, like the in-monitor ones. I never wanted that because they're so expensive. If they break, what the fuck am I gonna do? these the tablet models are cheap enough that you can just go to the store and grab. Like there's like I said, like the Best Buy, that's like 2 blocks away from where it has like 4 of them in like literally the one that I'm using right now I bought from Best Buy 2 blocks away, and they have 4 more in inventory right now. This one could break and I could go buy it, get back, and be up and running again within an hour. If I was using a Cintiq and the Cintiq crash, Jesus, I wouldn't be painting for like 2 fucking weeks. I can't have that. So even though the technology is amazing, it's logistically it's too high risk for me to want to invest full throat into that sort of technology. It's just the risk isn't worth it. Uh-oh. I think I'm out of time. Oh shit, it's 8:15. What the fuck? You guys got me monologuing. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm late. I gotta go. All right, so I'm gonna be back later on today. At 5 o'clock, I'm gonna be on How to RPG and AJ Pickett and Wally DM and Dungeons and Dramas, and I think some other people are gonna be playing Shadow Dark. And then I'll be back on doing game design later on tonight. But I had no idea it was this late. I gotta go. So I'll catch you guys on the other side. And the one from yeah. Same here. That's why I started. Those old ones is where I started with. All right, that's it. I'm out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for playing along. I will see you all on the other side. Like, subscribe, etc.